Coming up, Democrats shown up by Piers and Michael Knowles, and Democrat sanctuary city mayors taken apart by Congressional Committee. Michael Knowles and Piers take apart delusional Democrat supporters.
Nicole Wallace on MSNBC said, it was a heartwarming
moment.
Well, I'm going to
play that
and
clip.
I just hope he doesn't kill himself.
I believe the point that she was trying to make is you have these Capitol Police officers. Several of them have lost their lives, were beaten with their own batons. Some of them have traumatic brain injury. But yet, why didn't Donald Trump invite any of those people? I'm just wondering. So you can't have it both ways here. While I don't like the comment that was made, I also don't like the fact that MAGA Republicans seem to back the blue only when it's convenient for them. I want to say one other thing really quickly about Michael.
One person was killed in political violence on January 6th, and it was a Trump supporter who was killed by a trigger-happy cop.
Okay,
so
I want to respond to that right now, and that nonsense that you just said.
Brian Sicknick couldn't be reached for comment, could he, Michael?
Brian Sicknick, hold on a second. Brian Sicknick died the next day, and for you to claim, hold on a second, give me 30 seconds to make my point. Excuse me,
it's in the autopsy.
Give me 30 seconds. Can I finish my point, please, to what you just said? And all I'll need is 30 seconds to do so. If you are making the case on this national show that Brian Sicknick's death the next day had nothing to do with January 6th, then you are an
I'm not
imbecile,
making that
sir,
point.
with
The
all due
medical
respect.
examiner made that point.
Just look at what the scientists
Absolutely
What a hill to die on.
ridiculous.
Great job, Michael.
Let me bring in.
I'm
Michael.
just reciting what the medical
fucking
report
break.
said.
Democrat supporter Brian Shapiro uses a whole lot of what-ifs in defense of Democrat behavior in Congress during President Trump's address. Shapiro tries pushing a point about law enforcement police who he claims were killed on January 6th. Knowles was correct on the facts. The female Democrat supporter, Jojo Carducci, is a nasty piece of work and sniggers about Knowles' claim and brings up Congressional Police Officer Brian Sicknick's death the following day as if he died as a result of January 6th. The fact is, Sicknick died after suffering 2 strokes the following day. You can see from this United States Capitol Police's own statement, where it states that he died of natural causes as per the coroner, while strangely saying that he died in the line of duty. These 2 statements are incompatible, so I believe the correct analysis is to follow the coroner's report. There were nonsense reports that he succumbed due to a fire extinguisher hitting him on the head, but this was incorrect. These 2 Democrats didn't stop there.
Heartwarming, which should be just a moment of levity, of unity for all Americans to go, you know what, that's great. Look at that kid. He's still here. He's living his dream, and he's getting this moment. The idea that that would be turned into a political protest by so many Democrats in the room who not only refused to stand up, but actually refused to applaud at all that that young man got his moment. I thought that was utterly reprehensible. Do you?
Well, here's what I will say. My heart goes out to DJ. I am a mom. My daughter is 12, almost 12. My son is 15. I also have lost friends to cancer, and I would have probably stood up and clapped because it was a very emotional moment. But what we are doing now, what is happening now, is that that young boy's story is being used and corrupted for more political talking points to drag the
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute.
That's exactly what you just did. But that's exactly what you just did.
Hang on. The corruption, if you like, the political corruption of that moment and that boy occurred the moment the Democrats decided not to applaud him. In that moment, they made it a political firestorm quite deliberately.
But let me ask you, let me ask you a question, Piers. What do you think does more for someone like DJ? Standing up and clapping at an address of Congress or funding childhood cancer research? Which one of those 2 things do you think will benefit that young man and other young boys like him? Because what is not happening right now is that the Republicans are... I haven't finished, but I haven't actually finished because I would like to just back up what I'm saying with facts.
You asked me a question.
I didn't finish it. You didn't let me finish it.
How much awareness do you think that moment has given to brain cancer in America? How much funding do you think is happening right now?
Okay.
How much funding do you think is happening right now as a direct result of what happened?
Is it enough to get DOGE to restore the NIH funding for pediatric cancer research? Is it enough? Because right now, that is what's happening. So you tell me, Piers, how much is enough attention to get Elon Musk, who now apparently officially runs DOGE, even though Donald Trump told a federal court that he doesn't, how much attention is enough attention to get him to start funding that research again?
All right, let me bring in Matt Schlatt. Hang on. Matt Schlatt was shaking his head there. Matt?
Yeah, so they just passed a budget resolution out of the House of Representatives, which will actually spend more money than we spent last year. I don't like that. I'd like to see cuts.
Not
but
answering
this is
the question.
this is the old trope from Democrats that somehow you're compassionate when you spend money. Well, if they're right about that, we should have been able to solve literally every problem under Joe Biden because of our national debt.
Then we have the issue of young TJ having his moment with the Secret Service during Trump's address. Jojo, nasty piece of work that she is, cannot bring herself to say that the Democrats were wrong for not standing and applauding TJ. Disgracefully, she states that it is Piers politicising the issue. But it was the Democrats that politicised it in the first place by not standing and applauding. Jojo does everything she can to deflect attention away from the Democrats' disgraceful behaviour, but every argument she put up was crushed by Morgan and the head of CPAC. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share and subscribe. Then we come to Democrat sanctuary city mayors being called out in front of Congress.
Mayor Johnston, coming back to you, how much did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around $79 million since 2022.
$79 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you.
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing mayor.
Which is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that was sent from us from the state of Texas.
How much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
$6.9 billion of taxpayers' dollars.
$6.9 billion of taxpayer money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
services. You don't
services,
ask about how much money the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration? Are you out of your mind?
We don't distinguish between immigration status.
Do you manage your budget or not, Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep our city safe.
Mayor Wu, do you manage your budget?
Florida Representative Byron Donalds really hammers the sanctuary city mayors on how much they're spending on illegal immigrants. As Donald says, if Chicago's mayor cannot say how much they have spent, they're not doing a good job in dealing with the budget. Boston's Mayor Wu is even worse. This expense is not even a budget line item for Boston's spending. This is shocking. Then Nancy Mace being very operative, as in one of those old bludgeoning weapons, questions them as well.
People you represent. You all have blood on your hands. I'm going to ask a series of yes or no questions today, and I would like to remind all of you, you are under oath. I only want a yes or a no to my questions. My first question, do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime? Mayor Adams, yes or no? Do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime?
I acknowledge.
Yes or no?
I acknowledge.
Okay, Honorable Johnson, he's not going to answer the question. Yes or no? Is breaking into our country against the law? Yes or no?
Depends how you cross the border.
Okay, Mayor Johnson, yes or no?
Comprehensive immigration reform policies are what's necessary in this
Mayor
moment.
Wu, do you have a better answer than these gentlemen before you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, do you believe it's acceptable for illegals who commit heinous crimes be released back into the public instead of being detained and deported? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Anyone break a crime?
Yes or no? This is not hard. Yes or no?
Anyone that break a crime should be detained.
Okay, Mayor, yes or no?
They should be deported.
Okay, Mayor.
Any individual that
Yes or
causes
no?
harm
Yes or
and
no?
breaks
Okay,
the
Mayor
law
Wu?
should be held accountable.
This is why you have 6% approval rating, because you suck at answering questions. Mayor Wu? Yes or no?
Anyone who's a public safety threat should be prosecuted.
All right, I have my next question. When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Tell me, say that question again.
Okay, Mayor Johnston. When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Yes or no?
I will charge and prosecute them.
Yes or no? Okay, well, okay. You said you would go to jail, didn't you?
I will
For
charge
harboring
and
illegal
prosecute
aliens or something, Mayor Johnson?
Could you repeat your question, please?
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history?
Could you clarify that question?
Okay, Mayor Wu, yes or no?
No, rape is obviously
Then
horrible.
why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is
Okay.
not what's happening in
When
Boston.
an illegal alien molests a kid, molests an underage kid, do you pat yourself on the back for being compassionate? Mayor Adams?
It's despicable, and he should be arrested.
Mayor Johnston?
I prosecute folks that commit crimes like that.
You guys let him out on the streets. Mayor Johnson?
We arrest violent criminals in the city of Chicago.
Mayor Wu?
We investigate, arrest, and prosecute.
You guys don't sound very confident today. Would your city honor an ICE detainer on an illegal alien who rapes kids if one was issued today? Mayor Adams? Yes or no?
In conformance with law, we will honor detainers.
Mayor Johnson?
If there's a criminal warrant, we'll help them pick them up. If there's no criminal warrant, we'll honor a notification request.
Mayor Johnson?
Criminal warrants, we always cooperate with federal agents with a criminal warrant.
Mayor Wu?
Get a criminal warrant, we will enforce.
A criminal warrant. I'm talking about an ICE detainer on an individual who's here illegal who rapes kids. Do you all hate Donald Trump more than you love your country? Mayor Adams?
I respect my president. I respect my
Yes or
country,
no?
and I
You're having the
respect
hardest time
my
today.
Senate.
Mayor Johnston?
I love my country.
Yes or no?
I love my
Okay.
country.
Mayor Johnson?
As the son of a pastor, I love everyone and this country.
Mayor Wu?
I love my country and my city.
Do you all, are you all willing to go to jail for violating federal law? Mayor Adams?
I'm not going to violate federal law, so I don't have to worry about that.
Mayor Johnston?
We don't violate federal law either.
You don't violate federal law.
We do not violate federal law.
Is it violating federal law if you don't honor detainer requests from ICE?
Absolutely not. In fact, the statute Congressman Biggs shared, we explicitly follow. The statute says you cannot prohibit city employees from sharing information about someone's status with the government. We do not prohibit that.
Do you love illegal aliens more than you love your fellow countrymen?
I love all the residents of the city and county.
Mayor Johnston, are you willing to go to jail for violating federal law?
The city of Chicago complies with all laws.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Mayor Wu?
We are not violating federal law.
Mayor Wu, I have a last couple questions for you. Do you believe that ICE arresting a child rapist, quote, threatens everyone's safety, end quote? Yes or no?
No.
Does ICE arresting a murderous MS-13 gang member threaten everyone's safety? Yes or no?
No.
I would like to hold up this quote of you where you say, ICE's efforts actually threaten the safety of everyone, end quote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. You're a hypocrite. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
This is quite amusing in that the Democrat mayors have such a tough time actually answering the questions. It sort of reminds me how they struggle when they're asked to define what a woman is. Some questions weren't great, I'll have to admit, but others really showed these mayors up as far as the ludicrous positions that they have on cooperating with ICE. It is also clear, given the answers that they had brazenly given in the past, that they were not exactly being honest and forthcoming here. Then we have Chair Comer to Chicago's Mayor Johnson.
Law, would you turn this criminal over to ICE on a detainer?
Our local law enforcement works hard every day to get criminals off the streets of Chicago.
Would you turn that criminal over to ICE? That's the problem. That's one of the topics of this conversation. That's one of the problems we've heard from Tom Hammond and from the Homeland Security, is that in your cities, when someone's apprehended for a crime, and ICE is now with this new federal policy wanting to come in and deport the criminal alien, that you will not cooperate with ICE. Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
And we do not harbor criminals. Our local police department works hard every single day to ensure that the city of Chicago is
Yes
safe.
or no? Will you turn the criminal over to ICE?
A very simple question, and one that Johnson found impossible to answer. This is typical, and the reason that Johnson will not answer the question is that the reality is that for him, the answer is no. These mayors will rather protect illegal aliens than protect American people and cooperate with ICE. This is unbelievable behavior. Then we have Denver's mayor getting hammered as well.
This policy and the danger that it creates is wholly a result of your policy as the city and county of Denver. Just last week, it resulted in an illegal Tren de Aragua member assaulting and biting an ICE agent because he was uncuffed and he was released by Denver to a parking lot. Now you're putting police officers who you're sworn to help protect as their mayor at risk to score political points. And I think it's outrageous. It's unbecoming to your office, and it's a danger to the people of Colorado and the citizens of Denver. Now, we have this case, and I know you've talked about it today. Abraham Gonzalez, suspected TDA gang member, released from Denver County Jail, as I mentioned, due to Colorado's sanctuary policies. This is a post by ICE. Was forced to arrest him in public. ICE was forced to arrest him in public, where he assaulted officers. Sanctuary policies endanger communities and law enforcement. That's their post. I'd ask that this be entered into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Objection, so ordered.
Mr. Mayor, yes or no? Would you feel safe if you were alone in a parking lot with a Tren de Aragua gang member?
We did not put a situation where someone
Just yes or no. Would you feel safe if you were in a parking lot alone with the Tren de Aragua member, like you make your police officers do, or like you make an ICE agent do? Yes or no?
There were 6 ICE agents on the scene.
Could you answer my question? Would you feel safe
without any weapons?
Would you feel safe? Reclaiming my time. Thank you. Would Coloradans reclaiming my time, Mr. Mayor? You're not going to answer.
Yet another Democrat mayor who will not answer the question. A simple question, given the clear danger that this illegal alien posed to the greater community. It is clear that this mayor, who is in a privileged position, would not want to be put in the same sorts of situations as his constituents are quite often placed in. All right for thee, but not for me, seems to be the opinion. Then we have Democrat Congressman Garcia.
Me at least, that you are selling New Yorkers out. It appears that you are working with Tom Homan, who is clearly focused on family separation and deportations and harming New Yorkers and others across the country. Now, every other mayor on this panel is pursuing legal and effective policies that benefit our residents and their communities. Their policies actually uphold public safety. Now, I personally agree with the majority of New Yorkers and think, Mr. Mayor, that you should resign. You should do the right thing. You should step down and resign today. And with that, I yield back.
Would my friend yield? Would my friend yield?
I yield.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I want to be really clear. Were you pressured in exchange for the dropping and dismissal of criminal charges in your indictment to cooperate with the Trump administration on all fronts with respect to immigration? Did any such conversation take place?
I think I was extremely clear.
I cannot hear you, sir.
I think I was extremely clear. No quid pro quo, no agreement. I did nothing wrong but serve the people of New York City.
Garcia is pathetic in his talk about Homan being focused on family separation. The reality is that there are a lot of Americans that are forcibly removed from their families. Think of any lawbreaker that is in a detention facility called a prison. They are also forcibly separated from their families for the same reason. They have broken the law. But to Democrats, they are once again more focused on the families of illegal aliens than they are American citizens. New York's Mayor Adams also makes clear that there was no quid pro quo for charges against him being dropped. What do you think of the sanctuary city's mayor's behaviour? Please let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.